My father always had a difficult time with these. I suppose there's a puzzle that you use to get into them. But if you notice, there's like these eye images and they seem to be opening and closing. And there's a gold one. It looks like that gold one is the sun symbol. It's like the open with the dot, but I won't be able to tell for certain unless we stop it. Oh. Is that like a lens? Maybe we're supposed to find a way in? Well, Oh, we did open the door up. I wonder if it's like the previous door. There is another path. And there's the viewer. I remember these viewers from when I was a kid. So, yeah, there's a dot eye. Oh, it stops on the upper image, huh? So like when it's a line. I have to stop at just the right moment. Yes! All right, and I'll write this down. I'll write down that, like, the wood island dome is like a vertical slit. Because it might be useful information for later. Oh, there's a book in there. I thought that Gehn wasn't capable of creating other ages. Unless he found a way. Yeah. I'm gonna have to find a code or a kind of pattern for these. Because I think it's like probably like a lock combination. But now that we've stopped that, I think we can keep this door open. And try out the different path. Where's this? Oh, yes. Looks like we're going to be going by there. What's that humming noise? Oh. It's a lever. It looks like that stopped it. Okay. Oh, it's locked. I wonder where that leads. Does it go all the way back? It seems to go up and over the ridge. Is that making the same sound? Wait, the fan is stopped. Oh, I see. The cord was powering the fan? Well, sneaky through the vents. Oh. Well, I suppose if you can't unlock a door, you find an air vent? Yeah, that cable does look like the one that we were using. Oh, wow. That's like a gun or something. It's like pump action. There's like a target, a bayonet. Huh. Okay. Another ball. It sort of makes a whooshy sound. And if you notice, it has this on it. That's the number 1. So I'll write that down. Whooshy is number 1. I don't know what kind of animal would make that noise because we've heard the beetle. We've heard a whale noise. That was over at the other place. Yeah. So in the like crickety sound. Maybe he writes something about them. I can only assume that this is like Gehn's hideout. Last week, while monitoring the situation of the villagers from the scope in my survey room, I observed one of the natives swim out to a small object that appeared to be floating, but anchored near the entrance to the bay. I ordered the object removed from the water for inspection. Several days later, however, I was surprised to see yet another floating there. The missing object had quite mysteriously been replaced with a new one overnight. I've long been aware of the existence of similar artifacts on the villagers' island, but I have paid them little notice until now. Tomorrow, I shall send surveyors to catalog the others. And this looks like his book. It has Gehn's insignia on it. Sort of like walnuts and stuff nearby. Okay. The latest ink formulation has proven a failure. Even when writing in my most promising books, I obtain only the barest glimmers of connection. It is frustrating to expend so much effort creating a blank book, only to end up destroying it when it doesn't work. There are days when in the lab where it's uncomfortably warm from the flames of these failed attempts. The further I refine each element, the formulations of the inks and the papers, the physical dimensions of the books, the more I realize that the list of potential combinations is nearly infinite. It is during moments like this that I despair. Well, these that I despair. Without access to Denis, my long-term goals may never be accomplished. Just some backstory. If this is indeed Gehn writing this, he and Atrus are descendants of the Denis people, which created the art of writing, which allows you to link to other worlds. But they were like sort of half human. I suppose Atrus is only a quarter Denis at this point, because his grandmother was human and then his mother was human. So it's very likely that, yeah, Gehn is half Denis and Atrus is a quarter Denis. But Gehn wanted to rebuild the Denis civilization after it had disappeared and collapsed, after like Viovis poisoned everyone. But as it was mentioned before, Atrus was positive his father wouldn't be able to escape because it's a very arduous process to create precisely the ingredients you need to make a proper age. And Gehn also didn't have the patience to learn how to write appropriately for the art, so he was like stealing tidbits from one thing and the other. Nevertheless, there are avenues of research which remain to be explored. I'm discontinuing regular observations of the stars beneath the fissure. Oh, that's probably where Atrus fell through. Although I've been able to track the dark cloud-like formations that migrate through the star field and have proven that their paths are cyclical, without proper instrumentation, it is pointless to continue. My general theory concerning the nature of the fissure has remained unaltered since it first appeared. It seems that the fabric of this age has been breached in a way that permits matter to be hospitably exchanged between the discrete but overlapping spaces, much like a link. But the apparent physical contradictions surrounding this juncture defy logical reason. The great column of wind that was formed when the fissure first appeared suggests a vacuum, as one might expect in space. Yet my early experimentations revealed the presence of a breathable atmosphere. That Atrus and Catherine threw themselves into the void is further evidence that it might be safe to travel, but without knowing its true nature, I cannot take the risk myself. It is also difficult to say what would happen if I were to reopen it after so long, but it is likely that the results would be catastrophic, given the changes that have occurred in this age since that time. Okay. Maintenance on the steam vent caps completed. I'm extremely pleased with the continued success of this system. I believe the construction to have been true to the Denis designs of my memory, another example of the superiority of the Denis technology. It's ironic that Atrus and Catherine unwittingly provided me with such a convenient source of power. And it shows, oh yeah, the redirecting of the steam vents. As with many of my views over the years, my thoughts regarding the origin of the fissure have changed. I've recently begun to wonder whether it was actually an unexpected byproduct of the changes Catherine and Atrus wrote into the age during their escape. Certainly by casting their linking book into the void, they trapped me here quite effectively, but I do not believe that Atrus intended for the book to be lost in this manner. Much better to destroy it than to risk the possibility of it falling into unknown hands. Also, had they foreseen the creation of the fissure, they would surely have thought that the vacuum created would eventually consume the atmosphere of this planet, a fate which Catherine undoubtedly would not have deemed acceptable for her homeworld. If I had not been there to supervise the construction of the seal, this most certainly what would happen, for the villagers were far too frightened to even approach the vortex without my urging. I hold on to the belief that it was an unintended consequence of their writing for another reason as well. I prefer to think that my son had meant for this age to merely be a prison for me, rather than a death sentence. Okay, the construction of the imagers has proceeded without fault. It is interesting to see how easily I've been able to adapt the Gehn technology to mimic that of Ahmad? Huh. In some ways, the similarities between the two cultures was striking. I wonder if perhaps there had been communications or commerce between these two cultures in earlier times. Maybe Keda's people were even descendants of the Gehn. It pleases me to think so. And it seems to show some kind of like another cage like hologram-y viewer. Note, it's possible that if I were to somehow to supply books with this power source of sufficient magnitude, I could suppress the variance enough to facilitate a solid link. It is doubtful that the geothermal cap generators would provide such an enormous surge. Perhaps I could adapt the fire marbles. Fire marbles? I wonder if that's what those little things were back there. I've been cataloging the natural elements of this age for nearly 30 years now, yet still I continue to find evidence of the Gehn preoccupation with 5. As a boy, it was very clear to me that the number 5 had special significance to the Gehn society, from the ancient heraldic emblems of the ruling elite to the humble homes of the commoners. It was ubiquitous. Its presence here is obviously a direct reflection of the minds that designed the texts that I used to compose this age. Further proof that through their art the Gehn masters were indeed creating the marvelous worlds that they wrote, and not, as many have mistakenly thought, merely building links to pre-existing worlds. So here again is iterating his belief that when the Gehn, or when the masters of the art of writing, write what their visions are for a world, that they're creating it, and that sort of serves his own like god complex. Whereas Atrus was of the belief that you're opening up one type of existence. It's why you can have 2 ages with slight differences. I think in Myst Uru they had an age that was like that. It was, I think someone had actually tried to make it seem like he could control time, when really he was just having people linked to different states of an age. While most of my constructions have been based on Gehn designs, I see now that the ones that I have imbued with power from the fire are clearly the most beautiful, the most perfect, and I believe the most structurally sound. Oh, not fire, it's the power of 5. Maybe? Were the fire marbles in capitals as well? No, that was lowercase, so it's the 5. I am still attempting to determine how Gehn color symbology reflects the superior design principle. Although superficially it's based on the 6 color system, I am convinced that there has to be deeper connections to the 5. I'll continue to investigate. Oh, so those are the eyes. The open eye with the slit, a closed eye, open eye with a dot, open eye with a dot, the vertical eye with a dot. Ah. So I wonder if this is like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, if it's like the 6 color system. Or, I mean, it could be like the red, green, blue, and cyan, yellow, magenta, but it's probably the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So I will write that down just in case. Maybe the colors deal with the domes, like we have to remember which ones are which. But we need to figure out what the colors are first. All right, I finally made a breakthrough. I have succeeded in modifying the fire marbles to generate enough power to hold a descriptive linking book in a stable matrix. I've linked to a new world. It is a harsh and desolate age, but is nonetheless well suited for my purposes, and so I have designated it my... Now, So because it's a base 5 system, having a 5 in the center means that you add the number that's transposed over it with 5. So this is the symbol for 4, so that means it would be 9, and then that's 3, so that would be 8. 98? But it doesn't end in a TH. It's like second or third. I don't know. By studying it clearly, or closely, I believe I will eventually be able to create a more appropriate age for us to resettle on. For now, I will build an office and set up a living quarter there, and in order that I may conduct my experiments in safety and without distraction. So these must be images. Maybe, is there like a marble floating around going down there? I must admit that I am proud of my work. To think that in such a primitive conditions I have accomplished in 29 years what it took the original Denis centuries to achieve. Note: repair outerwear for work on this world. The goggles may need to be redesigned altogether. Huh. I've begun construction on a series of link sites for each island that I will connect to Riven with my new office on... Yeah, that's the same like 98. The Survey Guild has finally completed the site location for the island. According to my exact specifications, and installation of the domes is underway at last. So, do the domes take us to Gehn's office then? Oh, work on the central power source. Got off to a bit of a bad start, I'm afraid. But the pace has picked up considerably since, and I anticipate no further delays. I'm looking forward to finally having a civilized mode of transportation. So, maybe these are diagrams for the different islands. I should probably try to figure out like what kind of shapes these islands even have. But if this is the central power source, maybe we need to find a way to turn it on before we can actually access any of the domes anyway. Oh, this is good. Due to the rebels' continued disturbances, I've decided to install a coded access system into all the domes. So that's 9. Now, this is the 2 symbol on its side. When you have a 2, it means that it sort of like, it switches over. So that's showing that this is the number 10 plus 1. So, let me look. Let me go through this. So this is... nine. And that's 11. Now that is 12, because it's a 2 with a 2. 12, that's funny. 9, 11, 12. Now, because that's a 3, that's the next 5's place, so that would be 15. 15, 16. And the last one is... Now, if that's a 4 with the 15, that's a 19. So 9, 11, 12, 16, 19. And what's really interesting is I remember my father actually having a different set of numbers for his domes. I almost wonder if this game has like a little number library and it creates a new system of codes directly for your game. So 9, 11, 12, 16, 19, I believe, is my current code. I can try that on the dome outside now that we've stopped it, but I don't know if we'll have the power to like actually use it. Okay. I caught one of my assistants looking over the journal today. I'm glad I've chosen to write it in a language they cannot decipher. Note: discuss security with each guild master. No problems expected from maintainers, educators, and surveyors. Question the bookmakers and builders more closely. Okay, today I heard several more reports of spirit sightings by some of the villagers. It seems that under Catherine's leadership, the rebels, or the Black Moiety. Yeah, the Moiety, as the villagers obstinately insist on referring to them, have attained a new level of sophistication in their terror tactics and have renewed their campaign to intimidate the villagers into joining them, playing upon their shared superstitions. The villagers are certainly susceptible to this form of coercion, especially given how given of late the rebels' increasing activities of vandalism and theft. Huh. Well, of course he would see them as terrorists, but maybe they're like freedom fighters. I mean, they did free us from the cage at the very beginning. All right. The Yitram traps have been subtly fruitful this year. Apparently, the breakup of the islands has not adversely affected the subterranean ecosystem. So they must be some kind of, like, creature, right? Unfortunately, I imagine the rebels are experiencing a similarly generous harvest. No shortage of poison for their darts this season. Oh, so they must be like some kind of poisonous fish or mussel or something. Such morbid issues aside, the sudden availability has allowed me to refine a particularly pleasant extract for my pipe, one that is smoother than any of the others from recent years. Oh, so he's smoking the poison too? All right. Chemical analysis of one of the rebel knives has yielded curious results. Its composition contains elements that are unlike anything I've encountered on the islands. It appears they have access to a resource which I am unaware. Perhaps a mine. Or an uncharted island. And that's the dagger. Note, most of the knives have been found in the south side of the village. This is the same area in which there have been reports of people mysteriously disappearing. I think a closer inspection of the area is warranted. Maybe it's like a whole group of people just siding with the rebels. The fact that they leave these distinctive knives as a sign of their presence concerns me. They're growing more bold, and it seems no longer fear the discovery of their hideout. All right. The latest measurements indicate that the recent trend has continued. The movement of the islands has slowed tremendously. My previous estimates predicted a total collapse in approximately 3 months, but with new figures, I'm uncertain. I have nearly finished writing and that's 99th age, and I have every faith that it will indeed be a safe place for us to relocate to. Yet it would be helpful to know that this has caused the Halt of the Ages breakup. No, what has caused? Well, what he doesn't know is that Atrus is actually writing things into Riven to keep it going, just until he can get Catherine and the people out. Is it possible that it's stable after all? If so, I must discover how this age differs from my less successful attempts. My examinations of the 98th, it still has an RD, that doesn't make sense. Age have thus far proven inconclusive. Or perhaps someone is repairing the damage to the 5th age, and if so, it would almost certainly be Atrus's doing. Whoa, so if Riven was number 5 and seems to be the most stable of the ages that he's ever attempted to make, and he's been up to 99, he's must have had so many failed attempts. All right. I reluctantly decide to abandon my experiments into the behavior of the water of this age. There are more pressing matters which I must now concentrate, leaving me little time for such speculative research. For future reference, however, my investigations up to this point have revealed the following. I believe the remarkable properties of the waters to be caused by a life form that resides in it. Specifically, a type of bacteria. I'm imagining a motile unicellular organism, but one with structures capable of holding in bits of water, whose combined effect, via surface tension, a stronger force, causes a composite body of water to move in response to heat. Prolonged exposure to extreme heat, for example, a period of extended boiling, seems to kill the bacteria, which would explain its dramatic aversion to heat sources. Unfortunately, these theories are still not fully tested and remain ignorant both of its deeper nature and its possible uses. Oh, so if the bacteria is like in all the water, I wonder if by boiling it, you create pockets? Maybe that's how the submarine has the pockets surrounding it. Oh, this totally makes sense. When we went in the minecart and went underwater, there was like heated rings. So the heated rings probably make the water part and make a tube. Ah, that's awesome. They explain it with bacteria? Organic rather than mechanical. Interesting. An exciting development. Last night, a squad of maintainers stumbled upon a lone rebel scout and obtained from him the most incredible device. It's a crystal that somehow powers these flawed linking books, much as my own system does, but with an obvious advantage. It is small and weighs only a few pounds, making it completely portable. Catherine must have fabricated the device before I captured her, obviously with an explicit Denis schematic that she must have brought with her to this age. If only I had access to such a document all these years. Regardless, I am now to concentrate solely on the writing of the ages, and I need no longer worry about building elaborate power supplies for each new book I write. This is a sobering reminder, however, that I must continue to seek an avenue to Denis. Regaining access to the resources there might be crucial to the completion of my mission. And that seems to be it for now. And what else do we have around here? Oh, it's like a bookbinding setup. That's the threads. He's maybe inspecting the age of the trees. Various books, bound and unbound. Dies. A press. Probably for binding the books. Now, if you notice, I actually changed these, the speed so that we're not zip, 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 zip. So it's a slightly more palpable transitions. Oh, what's over here? Oh, frogs. I wonder if they're the things that create the poison. Oh, it must be because he has like all these powders and syringes and stuff. He's probably using the frogs to make that poison. Well, and his pipe stuff. Bunch of little eggs. Doesn't seem like any of the other drawers open. Can I close it? No. And that's where we came from. Oh, it's a furnace. Yeah, and he completely destroyed this book. There's no image there whatsoever. It is dead. Probably, this is what he meant by like the fires of his failed experiments. Huh. It looks like a button for a tram. Is it still unlocked? Yeah, it is. Well, let me continue down the path. At least just to see where we can go. Oh, it's the dome again. And I think we powered this. So we should be able to lower it. And will this take us to like a nice upper level? Oh, yes. And I can add this ring. So that will allow us to have access to the very beginning if we really wanted to. And where does this go? Oh, that's the elevator, but do we have a button? Oh, there's a button. Yes. Oh, this goes back to the revolving chamber. Well, I don't think I need to go back through there because I've already done all the gates. I want to get down to that dome. Because if we could stop that, that would be really useful. The question is, how would we get there? Maybe if I go downstairs. Now that we've moved the elevator, maybe we'll open something else up? Because we powered that. Yep, we have a button now. It was closed before, and now we have a button. Okay. And another dome. Let's see. Now, this is the one that's on the main island. So which one is it? Oh, it's the circle. Okay, I'll wait for it. Looks like I hit it in time. So I'll write that down. This dome on the main island is the gold circle with the singular dot on the inside. Now, maybe I should try that number from earlier. Okay, so we have the highest number because we have to do these left to right. 19. So that's 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. 16, 15, 16, 12, 10, 11, 12, 11, and 9. Yes! It works! Wow. So, I wonder if all of these go to the same age? He mentioned that there were 5 of these. Yeah, that's the 98. But it's blank. I can't go in it. Can you press the button? I probably have to find a suitable power source for this. And it has to come from the central structure. Oh, that's the elevator button. And I suppose before I continue any further with these books, I should show you guys how I came across the number system to begin with. So let me see, what would be the easiest way to go back? Probably this way? Oh wait, nope, I don't want to close the door. Let me in. Yeah, so. Oh, do I have to open it every single time? Yeah, open up. Yeah, so the way I'm going to show you the number system is actually by going back to the village. Because there's actually like a nice schoolhouse there. Because he's been teaching the people how to use Denis. And to like read their number system and whatnot. But one of my favorite things as a child, learning about the number system with my dad, was that you learned the number system in the form of a game. So we'll go find that. Because I'd feel bad if I kept solving puzzles with numbers if I didn't actually show you guys how I know the numbers.